Good. Slight problem. Yes. Yes, Jeremiah. So whenever you work in the Google Docs, and remember I will be looking at your Google Docs to make sure that we don't have a single person working for the entire group. Yes, when you work on Google Docs, the format may not be preserved. That's why I said do all the work in Google Docs and then download it either into the Word for Windows. Remember, we have access to that through Office 365, and submit it like this, or convert it into a PDF, because PDF is a portable format which preserves the whatever formatting you had in the original document. So PDF is very faithful to what you do. So for your assignment 2, which is of course not due for the next 2 months, we will probably have to do that. Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie, so you know that Jeremiah submitted, right? Through the new link. Okay, fantastic. So you're good. All right. How was it for you, Stephanie? Did you find the assignment 1 stressful?
If not, in the beginning I did initially, but I know we had our Zoom, like I had a Zoom call with my group and we were able to kind of break things up. And once we broke it up into exactly what we wanted to do and what articles we wanted to look into, it wasn't that bad, but yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Yeah, the difficult part was that every time we found an idea, we kept changing it because statistics and the reasoning wouldn't match up with the claims. And then the sources wouldn't cite a proper source. And it was a headache, so we kept changing and changing and changing.
But hopefully the outcome is good.
Fantastic. Well, look, you are replicating a real life story if any of you will ever decide to go into a master's program. You'll have to do that. And I always say to people, I challenge you to find a single author paper in PsycInfo. They don't exist. That's not possible these days. You can't do work individually.
I found one.
It must have been a really bad paper or a really good one. I don't know.
It was decent, but the findings could have been a little bit better. The sample studies were kind of small. There was only 35 studies.
Oh.
And the information were mainly qualitative self-reported.
Yeah.
So I found that a little bit strange at the end. So I put that in the discussion section.
Okay, so we'll see. All right, good. Let's start. This is our continuation of chapter 3. And one of the reasons why we are continuing with chapter 3 is because, well, it's important, right? This is the entire quintessential cornerstone of this approach. 3. Oh, good, Edgar. I'll check during the break to see if everything came through. So 3 claims and 4 validities is something that is important for the entire sort of psychology approach as a science. Okay, so ignore the first one because that's from the last week. So we are doing the end of chapter 3 today, hopefully with a few exercises, maybe 1 or 2 because they're kind of long. Your main thing for next week is obviously quiz number 2 based on chapter 5. It's due on Monday, October 5th by 10 p.m. as always. I told you that this time you will have 8 multiple choice questions and 2 short answers, which means once you finish the test, the quiz, you're not going to get the grade right away because it will have to be graded by me. So once I receive your work Monday night, remember again that if you start your quiz late, something happens to Blackboard or your computer, I won't be able to do it if it's late. So I really, really encourage you to start doing the quiz a little earlier, maybe even Sunday.
Professor?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm taking the quiz and then my Wi-Fi went out, and then like for the short answer, because I had to type it and then it wasn't typing, so that's why I had to go on to the next question. But since I go on to the next question, I can't go back.
No, you can't go back. That's the point. So if that happens, you should quit immediately and email me. What I will do, I will reset your attempt and you will be able to take the quiz again. So if you're doing it at 9 p.m. on Monday, I may not be at my computer and I won't be able to help you. That's why I'm saying, if you can, I understand sometimes it's not possible, do the quiz a little earlier. So if there is a technical issue, I can help, but I can't help it if it's an hour before the deadline. Okay? So Chidima, email me and say that you need me to reset the quiz and I'll do that. And you'll have one more attempt. Okay?
Thank you.
Right. Good. So next week, we will be back to our normal schedule. So let's look at the syllabus again. Jesus, here we are. Okay, syllabus, there is the syllabus. Let's make it big. Small, small, small. Okay, so here's the syllabus. As you see, we're finishing chapter 3 today. We will start chapter 5, on which you will be taking your quiz number 2, and October 8th, which is a Thursday, our usual mandatory class. We will hopefully do a little bit work on measurement because it is important. Without this, it's very hard, especially to do and think about experiments. And then we'll start talking about assignment number 2, which is up in the air in terms of the method. Usually I stick to observations because it's much easier and much more, I would say, enjoyable. It's not as stressful as other things. But because of our current situation, it may not be possible to do observations, at least maybe not some of them. In this case, our plan B is going to be a survey. So what I need you to do, you have a whole week to think about it, is to start thinking about topics that you would like to investigate. Now, so remember these two, and that's what we will start with on week 7. We will start with the actual methods. We'll start with observation, go into interviews and surveys, and finish with experiments. So start thinking, if you are willing to go out, or maybe, I know there are public cameras all over the place, webcams, would you like to do an observation? Now, if you would like to do an observation, that means you will have to go out somewhere. And observations can be done in various locations. They can be done in just outside on the street. You can watch and observe people's behavior outside, on the street, in the parking lots, in grocery stores. That's not outside, but in some of the malls or in front of the restaurants. All of this will be observation, which means you will be observing public behavior. So what is it? What would be your claim? What would you be, what will you need to do to test your claim, right? If you think you don't want to do observation, which is fine with me, it's just going to be a little bit extra work for us, but not a problem. I'm game. If you want to do a survey, also known as a questionnaire. So for this, you will need another claim. You will need a topic. But the questions in the survey may be more than just one claim or one hypothesis, or you have to sort of think of how each question will contribute to this topic. Again, in the past, we have done a lot of observations on campus, in the library, in the cafeteria, and different floors of the library, you know, whether people walk faster when they walk by themselves or when they walk with a group of friends, stuff like that. We did an observation on people driving on the loop, and there are stop signs all over the place. See, do people stop? So what's the operational definition of stopping at the stop sign? And what kind of, whatever you could see, observe, whether there was a gender effect or an age effect, whether it was a student more likely versus faculty or staff members, stuff like that. Again, campus is closed, so we can't do that, but we could look at such behavior outside on Staten Island or Brooklyn, wherever you live. But remember, it has to be a group work, which means each of you will have to do observations based on 10 participants. So it shouldn't be more than an hour per person just doing data collection or a survey. And again, I will help you with setting up the survey. There are many things we can do. We can use SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey is restricted to 10 questions, but Google Forms are not restricted, as many as you want. But the more questions you have, the more data analysis you have to do. So there are sort of trade-offs that you need to think for next Thursday. That's that. And then as you can see, in October, we will continue through the methods. October and November, we'll do some descriptive statistics, very, very simple stuff, nothing major. And we will basically be done. Okay. So any questions on that before we move on to our agenda for today? No? Okay. All right. So in so what I will do actually in the chat, I will send in, I posted on the Blackboard, but maybe to make our life easier, I will send you a table for 4 validities. And that's what we are talking about today. We started with 3 claims, and that was last week. And now we're moving on to 4 validities. Well, you did some of that for your assignment number 1, but you will need to continue to understand that. So for the exercise that I have in mind and for the discussion that we will go into right now, I need you to have access to that table. I'm posting it in a second. Okay, it's in the chat, so you should be able to download it. All right. Maybe it will be faster just to go through. So this is what we did last time. I don't want to kill that and start it all over again. So maybe I'll just quickly, while you download the table, I will quickly go through the point where we stopped last time. Okay. Yay, fun. Good. These were the claims. Okay. So remember, our book is the book by Beth Marling. She is the author of this approach. So what we'll do, we'll watch a very short clip on what she has to say about 3 claims and 4 validities. Let me just make sure that we have the computer sound on. Can you hear the sound, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, Okay, good.
The 3 claims 4 validities approach is like a scaffold for all the content of the research methods textbook. So the 3 claims are frequency claims, association claims, and causal claims. So students learn to classify the kinds of claims they might read into frequency, association, or cause, and to identify the variables in each claim. So those are the 3 claims. And then the 4 validities refer to the 4 validities that most psychological scientists emphasize when they talk about research. So construct validity, internal, external, and statistical. Students learn to analyze any study or any claim on each of these 4 validities, which helps them have a really systematic approach to any research study that they would encounter.
Okay.
The 3 claims 4 validities approach helps students in at least 2 ways, I think. The first way would be it provides a scaffold for them to put all their research methods content into. And the second would be that it helps them prioritize which validities they need to be focused on. So because it forms a scaffold, it teaches students that no matter what they're learning about, random assignment or concurrent validity or inter-rater reliability, all these little things that seem really separate to them, they all really go into these boxes. They're one of the 4 validities, or they help you decide what kind of claim you're testing. And so it helps students to come back in the book. Everything in the book is always returning back to the 4 validities time and time again, every chapter. The second advantage, I think, is it helps our students become really nuanced and better reasoners, because it teaches them that some validities, depending on the claim you're testing, some validities are going to be more important than others. And so students learn to stop saying, well, does it have a random sample of the population of the country? You don't care about that if you're doing a causal claim. You're testing a causal claim, but you do care about that with a frequency claim. So it teaches our students to balance the priorities.
Okay, good. So that's Beth Morling's approach in a nutshell. So what we will continue doing today and throughout of the remaining classes, we actually are officially into the second third of the class. We will always try to talk about claims and interrogate their validity. So in that table that I just sent you, you have 4 validities, but we know, because you already read that and you already applied it to your assignment 1, not every validity is important for every type of claim. All right, so let's start with frequency claims, right? So I have a couple of examples here for you. 2 million US teens are depressed, and half of Americans struggle to stay happy. Now remember that these are frequency claims because they meet 2 requirements. One of them is there's only one variable. So can somebody identify the variable in the first claim? The 2 million US teens are depressed? What would be the variable here? Thomas, what is the variable here?
Depressed.
Good. So either you're depressed or you're not. And they estimate that about 2 million of them are depressed. So the name of the variable is depression, and the values are depressed or not depressed. Good. Who can do the second one? Half of Americans struggle to stay happy. What's the variable here? Milana, how about you? Okay. Vanessa?
Wouldn't it be like happy?
Good. Either happy or not happy, right? So the variable is happiness with 2 levels, happy or not happy. Okay, good, perfect. So now the 2 validities that we have to be estimated here are construct validity and external validity. Now you'll see that sometimes for frequency claims, you could also estimate the statistical validity, but that's not always necessary. So these two are important. So the first one is, well, did the researchers measure what they claim they measured? So if it is about depression, how did they measure depression? Does anybody have an idea how depression is measured these days?
They could do like tests, kind of.
What kind of a test?
Like, okay, like, so this might be like type personal, but like when you go to, I know that when like I go to like a psychiatrist's office, and if you're prescribed medications, you kind of take like a personality test to see, it goes by on a scale of 1 to 10 how depressed you are and how severe it is. So they could do something like that.
Perfect. So we have an operational definition of depression is to have a score of certain number of points on the depression scale. And we have many, many depression scales. The scale is the word that we are using for assessments. So there are many assessments for depression. Some are old, some are new, some are better, some are worse. But you can calculate people's score, and based on criteria that were established beforehand, we classify people as, severely depressed, mildly depressed. We have a special term for that, not depressed at all, and so on. So what about happiness? That's the same idea. We would need to give people some kind of a questionnaire. Or maybe we could just, call somebody on his or her cell phone and say, are you happy today? Yes or no? Well, one could do that. And I assume this is what they did for the second one. Half of Americans struggle to stay happy. So they called a bunch of people, presumably several thousands, and they just asked them that one question. Are you happy today? And people said yes, no. Or maybe they even punched in their phones. So if that questionnaire, that scale is good, and you can ask me what it means to be good, then we have construct validity. But if somebody called you and would say something like, did you have some wine today? Well, it may not have anything to do in our research study. Good. We may not have anything to do with happiness, just whether you have been drinking wine or not. And then in this case, the number or volume of alcohol that you are consuming is not a good depression, or I'm sorry, it's not a good happiness measure. Therefore, there will be a poor construct validity. And like I said before, for anything that's physical, height, weight, cholesterol, any things that are sort of physiological, we have really, really good measurements, good construct validity. For things that are social, personality, clinical counseling, there is a lot of debate of what constitutes solid evidence, and therefore whether this particular instrument scale assessment delivers. And finally, it's external validity, which is easy to understand because you would say, okay, well, who were the participants in the study? They say half of Americans. Wow, isn't that a bit of an exaggeration? They could not have really surveyed 180 million people, right? So they surveyed some. And is this sample representative? If you only surveyed people who have landlines, well, maybe you are getting older people and they may be less happy or something like that. So were the participants selected in a certain way? And for some questions, if you want to know the level of depression among college students, well, you want to restrict your attention for people between 18 and 25, maybe, something like that. Then you can't say half of Americans. You have to say half of American college students, right? But of these two, you guys quickly type in the chat, which of these two validities is really important? Construct or external? We we can do a little poll we want. That will be easier for you to type. Okay, Rita says external. Louis says construct. External, construct. Oh, all over the place. All right, let's think for a second. If it is a question about happiness, but we ask people about wine consumption, and we surveyed, as we will learn when we do chapter 7 sampling, as wide as we have to go. Okay, good. If we surveyed just a particular group or a few people from different groups, we are not getting to happiness, right? We're getting to alcohol consumption. So in this case, construct validity is the one that probably is, I would say, slightly more important than external. Okay, let's try the association claims. So here we have 3. We have, again, construct validity. That is, in this case, we have 2 variables, right? So we need to know whether both variables were measured correctly or meaningfully, let's put it this way. And then we also have statistical validity, which we'll come to next. And the external validity continues to be important, but only secondary to construction. Again, the same ideas. So you're going to take the claim. In this case, my little example was about cell phone use. Well, how do people measure cell phone use in that survey? Well, they could ask people, how much time do you spend on your cell phone every day? Well, it's okay, not the best way, but you could also ask people, if it's especially a small group, screen time. Yes, Siva, exactly. We could pull information from the phone and see how much time, up to seconds, people use cell phone every day. What about sperm quality? Well, if we can get access to sperm samples, it's a simple procedure. Anybody who does medical stuff knows how to do that. Special apparatus, we can count. Therefore, if the researchers did that, so they pulled information from people's phones and they actually did chemical analysis of the sperm, the construct validity is excellent. So now we could say, is that only applicable to young guys, young men who use cell phones? What about people in their 40s? Well, they have to be men, right? Because it's about sperm quality. Does it apply to people in the rural areas versus people in the urban environment? All of this would be questions to ask. And that, again, is external validity. That is, how applicable are the results to other populations, samples. And the third one is a little bit more intricate. I'm not going to ask you to learn a lot about this because you actually have to take a statistical course first. So 266 is important. Here I'm talking about 2 types of errors, and I will explain it to you very simply for now. The type 1 error is there is no relationship between the 2 variables. So no matter how much cell phone you use, your sperm quality is fine. But the claim is that there is a relationship. That is, that if you use a lot of your cell phone a lot, then your sperm quality will go down. So you're making a connection, an association, right? 2 variables covary, but actually there isn't. It's a bad error, statistically speaking, but it's not as bad as the second one. When the relationship does exist, but you as the researcher say that there isn't. That's called a type 2 error. That's much worse because there is a connection to variables covary, but you say they don't. So for this, we have statistics. That is weird. Yes. Statistics does the following, and as long as you understand that, you'll be walking into 266 with an open mind. Statistics is there because we cannot survey or study the entire population or populations. We can only study samples. So what statistics does, it allows us to extrapolate the results from our sample to the population. And because there is two types of errors, there is an error that exists there because, well, we are humans, so we do all kinds of stuff. But there is also what's known as the error of measurement, and that error is because of the variation in the populations and samples from the populations. So statistics helps us to minimize the effects of these two things by taking many, many samples and saying, can we take the results from one sample and say that it will happen with the other samples? So that magic P called probability tells us that if our P is 0.05, if we take 100 samples from the population, we will be right 95% of the time. That is, in 95% of the samples, the claim will be, well, the hypothesis will be confirmed. And only in 5, it will be disconfirmed. And we live with that. We say, okay, 5%, that's okay. That's why there's two other p-values, 0.01, 1%, and 0.001, where if you can get that, that's the holy grail of experimental psychology. Anyway, so statistical validity is something that the researchers will show in the article in the results section. They usually will have a statistical symbol, a T, an F, a chi-square, eta, confidence intervals, CIs, stuff like that. You'll learn a lot of that in 266. So whenever you have a question about statistical validity, you have to look in the results. Of course, journalists almost never, ever even mention statistical validity because they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to interpret that. Good. And finally, we have to talk about our causal claims. But before I talk about these validities, I want you to, well, maybe one of you or somebody, is to either unmute yourself or type it in the chat. What are the 3 criteria for causal claims? So the causal claims are the claims that meet all 3. And I asked you to memorize that because it will help you later on in this course and will help you in other courses, especially in the lab courses when you get to that point. Can somebody type in criteria number 1? Okay. Let me see if I can call somebody. Tara, would you happen to remember the first criterion for causal claims? It's actually the same one that applies to association claims as well. Okay, Tara may not be with us. Jenny, how about you? Okay, good, Jenny. Excellent. Covariance. That means both variables co-vary. If one changes, so does the other one. Perfect. Good job, Jenny. Let's see. Jackie, can you give us the second?
Wait.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. When you get the chance, can you please describe covariance again?
Okay. It's very simple, Jasmine. Let's look at the first claim that's on the slide. It says music lessons enhance IQ. So Jasmine, name one of the 2 variables.
Music. Oh, the lesson, sorry.
Well, music lessons, right? What would be the values of
Right.
that variable?
That would affect like the IQ
No,
of
no, no,
the
no, no, no.
of
Listen
the
to the question, Jasmine. It's a variable. It means it changes. So it has levels.
right.
What are the two levels of that
Also, the
variable?
IQ has levels.
Okay, but we are not at IQ yet. Let's talk about music lessons for a second. What are the values of that variable?
I'm not sure.
Uh-huh. Jasmine, have you ever taken any music in your life? Like,
Yeah. Elementary school.
have you taken any lessons with an instrument, a piano, a violin, or anything like that?
Yeah.
Which
With
one?
the piano.
Okay, so you took music lessons in piano. Do we have anybody here who did not take any music lessons? I'm sure we do. Okay, so Irving says he never took any music lessons. So, Jasmine, the variable itself is music lessons, and the values are taking music lessons or
Or not.
not. Very good. So, Irving, what about the other independent, the other variable? I didn't say independent.
Wait, repeat that. I wasn't paying attention.
So, what's the second variable in this claim? Music lessons enhance IQ.
The IQ.
Good. What are the values of that variable? Yes.
I don't recall, to be honest.
Well, what's the average in the population?
Oh, wait, hold on. Repeat that. My volume's messing up. Repeat that.
So, what is the average of any population in general on the IQ? It doesn't matter whether
Oh,
that you know.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. It's 100. The average IQ is 100. So the scale of IQ is continuous. So you can have an IQ of 140, you're going to be Bill Gates. Or you can have an IQ of 70, and then you'll be equivalent to a Down syndrome person. So what are the values, Irvin? Can you have an IQ of 0?
Yeah. Well, I would have said genetics, but never mind.
So what are the values? Some values. 100 is one of them, yeah?
Less than 100.
Or
over 100.
Very good. So all these, thank you, Irvin. Sorry to torture you. So Jasmine, see how it means the two variables co-vary. If music lessons change, and we only have two values, right? You either have them or you don't. What happens to your IQ? Does it stay the
It's
same?
either high or low.
Good. So if music lessons is yes, IQ is higher. If music lessons is no, IQ is lower. You see what I mean by covariance now?
Oh, gotcha. So like they both have the same like option kind of thing?
Well, they don't have the same option. They change. If one of them changes, so does
to high or low.
Yes, it changes. Whether it's high or low, it depends on the relationship. But you see what I mean by covariance?
Yeah, I see.
Good. All right. So who?
Thank you. Sorry, I guess missing class for a week. I'm just
that pays off. Yeah. So Jackie,
thank
are you with us? Can you give us the second criteria? Okay. Jackie says she. Good. Milana, what's the second criterion? Yes, Rita, thank you. Thank you, Louis. Exactly. Temporal precedence. That means that independent variable, in this case, music lessons, has to precede IQ. Well, measurement of IQ in this case. So we measure our children's IQ before we assign them to take music lessons. And then they give them music lessons for a few weeks, and we measure the IQ again. So IQ changes because the music lessons were introduced into the children's lives. And Rita says, yes, internal validity, that's criterion number 3, and that's the most important one. In fact, the remainder of chapter 4 is about this. All right. So it's also known as the third variable problem. Remember my example, if you were here, about ice cream consumption and crime rate? Does anybody remember what it was? Of course, if you were here, doesn't mean you were.
Yes, we talked about how in summer the crime rate is high because it's hot, and then people get angry.
That's right. So we have a third variable in between these two. Therefore, the internal validity is compromised because the crime rate is not caused by increase in ice cream consumption. It's caused by increase in temperature, and that's different. Good. And that's why internal validity is the most important one and is the most difficult one to establish too. How can you always rule out your third variable? This could be many of them, right? Okay, so this is, again, if you still are struggling with this, here's your chance again to take your photo and post it somewhere where you can see it, because I will keep asking you this. Without knowing that, it's really, really hard to move on in this course, because it will get more difficult and more sort of variable oriented. And in fact, our next chapter, which is chapter 5, is all about variables. Good. What's good about causal claims is that they test causality. That is, we manipulate the independent variable. With music lessons, we can manipulate that. We can assign children to take music lessons or to be in the control group without music lessons. Now, remember, we looked at the All's paper about screen time, where a group of 6th graders was sent to the camp, randomly chosen by the Board of Education of that district, and the other group attended school. So they were randomly, right, assigned. And the first group was required to shed all their screens. No cell phones, no tablets, no nothing. It's a manipulation. We as experimenters did that. So we assigned one group to be experimental, no screens for 5 days. The other group to be control, live the way you live, which is on your cell phone, even for 12-year-olds. Okay? So we always are trying to ask this question, whether there is an effect of the independent variable, the one that we manipulate, on the dependent variable, the one that we measure. So we measure students' or children's emotional involvement. That's the dependent variable. And we need to have an operational definition, because emotional involvement is not that easy to measure, but they had a couple of tests and so on, right? And so forth. So we should see whether one level of the independent variable will have a difference, will have an effect on the dependent variable when the other one doesn't. Or maybe both will have, but the first one will have a much, much higher, stronger effect than the other. We'll get a lot of that when we get to chapter, I think it's chapter 10, right? The simple experiments. And we always have to have operational definitions. Sometimes, like I said, it's easy, sometimes not so easy. So if we take this music lessons increase or raise IQ, well, we have to go through these 3. Conclusion is also, it's the same word as statistical validity. So is it easy to assess, interrogate, construct validity of music lessons? Yes, we know whether children were getting lessons because we assigned them to do so or not. What about IQ? Well, we have an IQ test for children, which is designed specifically from ages 3 up to 18. So we have good construct validity for both. One is easy, the other one is not so easy, but it's well established. Well, does it generalize? Does it have external validity? Well, these were kids in Toronto, I believe, in Canada. Would that generalize to children anywhere else in the world, or in the States, in Mexico, in Europe? Probably, because we know a lot about the effects of music on academic development. So maybe it's not that important. And the statistical validity here would be that for kids who took the music lessons, the IQ between the time when they were enrolled in the music program and the time when they stopped, the IQ increased. Well, kids grew older, right? By 7 points. But for the children who were in the control group who did not take the music lessons, the IQ increased only a 3.7 point. You would say, well, you know, it's 3.3 difference. Is that big? That's where statistics come in. The statistical tests will tell us whether this difference 3.3 is significant or not. And remember what I said about the p-value. So if you were to repeat the study 100 times, only in 5 cases you will get this difference by chance. And then the remaining 95, it's going to be only because kids whose IQ increased more were with the music lessons. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but think about it. All right, I don't want to go through the other examples, and we won't need to do this. So it's 5:27 right now. We are going to take a break until 5:35, and then we will work on an exercise. Meanwhile, while you are on the break, I'll send you the claims. And if somebody has a question, ask me a question. Right now is a good time. Hi, Seaver.
Hi, Professor. In regards to the Blackboard submission with our assignment 1, I submitted a PDF version of our research, and this was my mistake because I'm the group leader and I was responsible for submitting things. I realized that I did not send the CNN, the mass media article link. I kind of assumed that because it was on our reference page, that would kind of be, you know, in a sense good enough. But I think the confusion for me was with the new link that you posted. I kind of missed the like what was like the package that you were kind of expecting from us, you know. So that was completely my bad.
It's not a problem. So what we could do, I think you already sent it to me as attachments, right?
Yes.
So if I have a proper link that's formatted the way it should be in APA, I can always download it. So
okay, understood. I went to go revisit the Blackboard link, and I think other classmates know this, that like I guess once you submit something, you can't really adjust your submission.
No, because it's a single time submission, so to say.
Submission. Yeah, no, I apologize about that. So no email necessary in terms of following up?
Since you already have sent it to me, that's not a problem. So only for those who submitted assignment 1 but forgot to attach the 2 pieces, that is the media piece and the article, research article, you may want to do it separately then, because I really need to have access to them in one way or the other. And if you recall, the rubric for grading specifically has 2 questions at the end about the sources. So if the link is there and I can click on it and it will work, not a problem. But if there's nothing there and you haven't attached the two articles, then I may not be able to assess it. And that's going to be a problem.
Hello, Professor. It's Victoria. I have a question. Can you please check if our assignment was submitted because we got confused?
You're not the only one. Did you use the new link that I sent about half hour before the class?
Yeah.
And
Did
it
you
went,
use the new link?
and it went through?
She sent me a screenshot and she say she's not sure.
Okay. All right. So let me just finish what I'm doing for.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And then I'll check.
Thank you.
So Victoria. Okay, if you are around, guys, I'll tell you what I see. So I see group number 3, Jeremiah, Sadiro, Stephanie, submitted. Group number 2 is Jackie and Tara. Yep. Group number 9 is Thomas, Terrence, Lewis. I see you guys. Group number, yeah, Thomas, Terrence, Lewis. Right, that was 9. Okay. Chalani. Group number 6 is Lisbeth, Alma, and Chalani. Yes, I have your work. Group number 7 is Kim, Jenny, and Monica. Yep, I see that. Let's go down the list. Victoria, yes, you're good. You and your group mates are Didi and Callista, right?
Yes, right.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Yep, I see that. All right. Let's see, next, Alma. Group number 6, Lisbeth, Alma, and Shalani. You're good. All right. Obviously, group number 1, Sever, Jasmine, and Rita. You're good. Irina and Skylet. Yes. Okay, and so it's easy for me to say whose work I don't have now, and that is group number 4, Irving. So you are with us. I don't have your submission, and you should do that. It will be open until 10 p.m. today.
Yeah, I just gotta finish like one more page and edit and just edit. That's it.
And then you'll do that. Okay, good. And I don't have group number 12, which is Norma and Romaine. Norma, are you with us?
I submitted it on Blackboard.
You submitted on Blackboard. Romaine, is it you?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you resubmit, Romaine? Go to Blackboard 3, assignment 1, and there is a new link. So do that between now and the end of the class, and I'll check and tell you. Okie dokie. Good. So yay, it worked. Next time I will make sure that I do not post different links all over the Blackboard because it confused you and it confused me, I guess, as well. Okay, so now we're gonna do some work in groups. So use your Google Docs, your group work, Google document. Let's see. So if you are in groups 1 through 4, which means Seaver, Jasmine, Rita, Jackie, Tara, Jeremiah is sick again, Sadiru, Stephanie, Irving, and Devin Joy, and Joanna, you guys are going to do claims 1 through 4 in the exercise that's attached, well, uploaded in the chat. Groups number 5 through 8, Eileen, Milana, Vanessa, Lisbeth, Alma, Chalani, Kim, Jenny, Monica, and Didi, Victoria, Callista. You guys are doing claims 5 through 8. And the remaining people, Thomas, Terrence, Lewis, Tyrell, Chidima, Edgar, Irina, Skylat, Romaine, and Norma, whoever is here, of course, are doing claims 9 through 12. And I'm going to try to give you 20 minutes to do so. So go to your Google Docs and where are we? I need to put that in presentation mode. Okay. What you need to do is use the 4 headlines that I have just assigned you. And first identify whether each of these 4 claims is frequency, association, or causal. Then identify which validities need to be interrogated. Remember, 2 for frequency, 3 for association, and all 4 for causal. And then do interrogate and interpret if you have time. So start doing that. As a sample, you can look at how it's done on pages 80, 81 of the textbook. That's an example. Or just use the table that I sent you in the beginning of the class. All right. So start, there's 3 of you, so each of you can start on one of the 3 claims and then work for 5 minutes and then exchange your views. Type your answers in abbreviated form in your Google Doc. And I'm gonna go to
Professor, my group is not here.
So you're gonna be all by yourself, Irving. That's not a problem. Wow. Remember, Irving, today is an optional day. So yes, we can put you with somebody else. Let's see. Thomas and Lewis, you guys are here? Somebody is here, right? Thomas is here? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Irving, would you like to join somebody or would you like to? Yeah, Lewis says yes. Lewis and Thomas, why don't you invite Irving to join you? Irving, please type in your email in chat so Thomas or Lewis could invite you to join them.
All right.
Hi, Professor. Silly question.
Yes.
Would you prefer if we move our essay and start?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Would you rather at the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Always at the top.
Okay.
Yes, because it makes my life
Thank
easier. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's not a stupid question. It's actually a good one. All right. So these are the 13, but I'm asking you to look at 12. So groups 1 through 4 are doing the first 4. Groups 5 through 8 doing the next 4, and the last 3 are doing 9 through 12. So I'm gonna stop sharing and we'll go to your Google Docs. So it is 5:40. We should try to reconvene at 6 o'clock and see where we stand. Okay, good. I see group number 9. Okay, Seaver, I see you typing. Okay, good. 1, 9. I'm just going through the order that I have your Google Docs in my Google Drive. Next one is group 6. See. And that is Lisbeth, Alma, and Shalani. I don't see anything yet. Start typing. See new changes. Okay, remember, I'm asking you to move the stuff they're doing now at the top of the document so I don't have to scroll all the way to the end because it takes time. So remember, click Control Enter, and you should be able to start a new page at the top. Okay, that's 6. Right, in class research activity. Okay, Tara, that should be group 2. Tara and Jackie. I don't know, Tara, if you have a new document, because the one I'm looking at is your old work. It's not the group work, or maybe you were by yourself. Right. Group number 5. Good. I see group number 5, Eileen, Milana, and Vanessa. Okay, good. Group number 10, Tyrell, Chidima, and Louis. No, it's Edgar. All right. See new changes. September 24. Okay, group number 10, I suggest the same. Start at the top of the document. Okay, group number 7. Good. Perfect. Kim, Jenny, and Monica, I see what you're doing. Very good. Next. Go back. Okay. All right.
Professor, can you please post the questions again? Not the 13 questions, the slide before that.
Okay. Right. Give me a second. Right. PowerPoint. Yes, I'll do that in a second.
Yeah, of course.
1 second. It's coming up. Okay. I've posted the 3 of them. So indicate if the claim is frequency association.
In the chat.
In the chat, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Causal. For each claim, state the validities and then interrogate. That's the longest component. That's why you should each work on one of the 4 and then maybe tackle the last one together or something. All right, let's see. 7:10:5. Tara, it's really, you should work in the same document with Jackie, and it should be the same document, and it has to have a name of Group 2, Tara and Jackie. Because there's too many documents from you that I don't know which one to look at. Can you please do that?
Okay, sorry. I put class exercise, but I'll write
So
the group.
change the name to Group 2, Tara and Jackie, and invite Jackie and me to join you.
I'm in the group.
I did.
You are
Jackie's in
the group. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this document, but I want you to change the name first, because when I have 18 tabs open, I don't know which one research exercise. That doesn't tell me anything. Okay?
Okay.
And it's easy. You can just click on the name and change it. All right. Who else? Group number 10. Uh-huh. Okay. Group number 10, guys. Chidima and Edgar, I know you're in. Are you working on your document? Because I don't see anything. It's blank. No, it has exercise 3 in it, which is from a couple of weeks ago. Chidima? Edgar? See Edgar. Maybe he's gone.
Professor, where's the document?
It's in Google Docs. Yes, you have a Google. You have a Google document for the group, Chidima?
Yeah.
Okay, so where is it? It should be called Group 10, and it should have all your names there, Tyrell, Chidima, and Edgar.
You talking about what we're working on now?
Yes, you should be working in your group Google document, the one that you used to write your assignment number 1.
Oh, okay.
So in that document, just push the assignment down and start working at the top so I can see what you're doing.
Okay.
Because all I see now is exercise 3, and it's called Group 10. I assume it's you, but it doesn't have the names. Can you go to it, Chidima, and start doing the exercise?
I don't have it in my email.
Okay, do it in the chat. Chidima, you and your group need to get together, you act together and have a group document that you will use. Otherwise, there's no way for me to see your work. If you want to create a new one. Okay, thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Tara. Now I see it. And I'm going to close your old one and open your new one. Well, it's the same one, I assume. Yes, Tara, you don't need all 13 of them. You are in group 2, so you only need the first 4. You don't need these guys at all. Okay, what about group number 3? Sadiru and Stephanie, do you guys have a group doc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't see it. 9, 6, 5, 10. All right, send me an invitation right now because I don't have it in my Google Drive. I don't see it. tell me when you're done so I can check my email.
I just sent one to you.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Let me check. Okay. Stephanie, did you send it to CSI or did you send it to my personal email address? Do you know?
It says CSI.
Okay, it hasn't arrived yet. Ah, life is difficult. Right. I'm gonna check my personal email address just in case it was bounced there, but I don't see your invitation yet, so I can't look at your document. Okay, who else? Didi and Victoria, are you guys, well, I know Victoria is with us. Are you doing something?
Yes, Professor, in Google Doc.
Good. All right, let's see. Okay, Tara's here, but not. No such luck. Okay. It's bed number 6. All right. Number 7. 7. Kim, Jenny, and Monica. Where are you? I'm talking to myself. Group number 7. Here we go. Oh, good. Good. Excellent. Yeah, you guys are doing well. Perfect. All right. Keep working. You have 6 more minutes. All right, so Norma and Romain, I can see your icons. I don't know if you're with us, but you need to submit your assignment 1 using the new link. It's on the Blackboard in section 3, assignment 1, and it says assignment 1 submission, new. And you should do it now while we are in class. So stop doing the exercise. One of you should submit the assignment right now because I don't see it. Norma? Romain? Okay. I sent it already. I need you to submit it on the Blackboard. Okay, let me refresh just in case. Oh, yes. Yes, thank you, Romain. Yep, thank you, Norma. I see it. You're good. All right, I'm going to leave for 3 minutes and I'll be back. Get a drink. Okay. So let's
Yep. Professor, I have to leave.
It's okay, Irving. We'll see you next week. All right. Where are we? Okay, so let's look at some of them. We don't have much time. So you were supposed to identify, should say causal, not cause. You were supposed to identify the type of the claim, decide which validities should be interrogated, and then start interrogating them. Okay. Let me put the claims on the screen. There we go. All right. So let's start with the first one. Let's start with somebody from group 1. Either Seaver, Jasmine, or Rita. Could you tell us what type of a claim is that?
I think it's association.
Why, Rita?
Because we are associating that if, being richer makes you a jerk, or, being poor makes you more humble, maybe.
Okay, so remember, to answer this question, you should say, well, there are 2 variables here, right? And these variables covary. And there is no action verb here. So, Rita, what are the 2 variables?
It's being richer and then unequal society.
You sure?
No.
Okay, Rita or Seaver, can somebody help us? So feeling richer is one variable. And what are the values? Well, you either feel richer or you don't feel richer. So that's fine. What about the second variable? Is it?
It's probably if you're, oh, sorry, go ahead, Rita.
It's making you a jerk. It's being a jerk.
Right. You are being a jerk or you're not. Okay? So this would give us 2 variables. Now, do they covary? That is, as you become richer, you feel like you're more of a jerk than you were before. So if it is a variable, what are the 2 levels? It's not a tricky question. I don't know why you are confused, Rita.
So feeling richer would be yes or no.
Right. And
being a jerk would be yes or no.
Exactly. Yeah. These are 2 categorical variables.
You see, it's big words, so it throws us off. Wait.
Well, that's the whole point, Rita. The point is when journalists make it, they make it sound grand. So they want you to, okay, every rich person is a jerk or something like that. So you said it was an association claim. Now I want you to think, is it an association claim? Remember, there is one little piece of, in terms of wording, that is a huge difference between association and causal claims. And what is this little piece of language? It's the verb, right?
Makes you?
Makes you, right? Seaver. That means there is a causal relationship that they presuppose. So both covary. Is the temporal precedence? Well, you get richer first. Now the internal validity. Right? Is there a third variable? We don't know. But the way it is worded, right? How could we think about it, both of you, for a second? How could we reword that to make it into an association claim?
Feeling richer makes you a jerk in unequal society?
Well, makes is a causal verb. We don't want it. We want something less deterministic, right? We want something light, something that doesn't commit us to the causal relationship. It's not just a question to Seaver and Rita and Jasmine. It's a question to Jack and Tara and Sadira and Stephanie. What do you think, guys? Mm-hmm.
How about people who are rich are a jerk?
Oh, are. You're saying are again, but you need to make it less deterministic, less causal. So instead of saying makes or are, you should say something like feeling richer than others is likely to make, or is likely to make you feel like a jerk. Is likely is not makes you, right? So you see,
so may seem like a jerk. Feeling richer make others seem like a jerk.
Well, is likely to
makes others seem like a jerk.
Maybe something like that. Okay, so
but the word seem, not something that
not the word makes. Yes, the word makes is a very strong causal. Yes, keyword is likely. Yes, thank you, Stephanie. So what are the 4 validities that we can interrogate here? Jasmine, are you with us? No? Okay, Jackie or Tara, what are the 4 validities? You guys did the same 4 claims as Seaver, Jasmine, and Rita. But I'm trying to get Tara or Jackie to say something.
What was the question? What are the 4 validities?
Yes, what are the 4 validities if this is a causal claim, which it is?
So there's the internal validity.
Yeah.
The construct validity.
2. Yes.
I forgot the other 2.
External and
external
and statistical. These are the 4. And because this is a causal claim, all 4 would have to be interrogated. With statistical, it's difficult because I'm not giving you any other information. But what about external validity? Well, I mean, is it about every single society in the world? Is it about even every single type of location in the United States? Okay, all of these questions would be external validity questions. All right, Stephanie and Sadiru, can you tell us about number 2? Let's just, because we don't have much time, just tell us what kind of claim is number 2. Instagram could predict depression, new research suggests.
Wait, we were supposed to, we had number 1.
No, you are number 3. Well, you were supposed to do the first 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we just did 1. I'm asking you about 2. So, Sudhir, it's not very difficult. Just look at it and tell me whether this is frequency, association, or causal.
It's, I'd say association.
Why?
Because you're comparing 2 things, how Instagram could predict depression.
Right, so not just Instagram, but be a bit more precise. It's how much time you spend on Instagram, right? Or
Yeah,
whether if you don't use Instagram at all, right, then there is nothing to talk about. So now can you reformulate it by stating the covariance between the two variables. So as the percentage of Instagram use goes up, what happens to depression?
Depression goes up.
Good.
Okay.
Right. And how would you, Sudhiru, change this association claim into causal claim?
Okay. So you just had to explain like Instagram causes the depression like that.
Right. Or you could say, let's delete the word could.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's left is Instagram predicts depression. Once you delete the word could, association becomes a causal claim, right? Because you say, hey, if you're using a lot of Instagram, you become depressed. See how manipulation of language could make a huge difference. Thank you, Sudhiru. All right. So neither Jackie nor Tara are going to talk to us.
What was that?
Hey, excellent. Tara, number 3. Thank you for being alive. So tell us number 3.
Well, I didn't know if you heard me.
Oh, good.
Oh, she's...
Sorry, Jackie, I didn't hear that. So I'll come to you next. So Tara, do number 3. Tell us what kind of claim is that?
I was definitely like I was stuck between association and causal.
And so which is your decision? Which one?
Then like hearing like you explain it, like how you have to really look at the words, I thought it would be causal because it says turns them into.
Excellent. Right. That's the internal validity. It says that if you give kids beer, they will become, alcoholics later when they're teenagers. And that is a very causal way of putting things. Now, Tara, change turns into something that will make it into association claim as opposed to causal one.
I think maybe giving kids sips of beer could possibly turn them into.
Good. What you just did is called hedging. Like the hedges in the garden, in the backyard. So hedging means that you're trying to kind of skirt away from the causality. You are decorating over the causality. You're saying, I don't know, possibly could, right? So the moment you take turns out of the statement and put in words like possibly or could, it becomes an association claim. Excellent. All right. Jackie, so can you do number 4?
Yes, I'm sorry. Hang on. Can I just shut my door real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, of course. We'll give you a second.
My family tends to be loud.
So what do you think about number 4? What kind of claim is that?
It's causal.
Okay. Can you defend your position?
No, I can't. It's not causal. Is it? I don't know.
Well, so what?
It might be.
I don't know. Why is I don't know? Which part of the sentence makes you confused?
Well, I think I just reread it and I saw may still harm.
Okay, so delete may and still, and what will happen?
It would be causal.
Right. So the moment you keep the word harms, right? Blood sugar, high normal blood sugar harms brain. That becomes a causal one. And if you keep those hedging words, may and still, it's an association claim, right?
Yeah.
But if you read the text, right? But if you read the textbook, she actually says that sometimes, even though you see these hedging words, it still could be a causal claim, depending on the rest of the text in the article. Yeah, I see you, Stephanie. But let's see if we can get somebody else to do that. So Eileen, Milana, and Vanessa, can one of you do number 5? Let's start with Eileen. Are you with us?
I'll do it.
Oh, go ahead, Vanessa.
I was going to say it's a causal claim because they're saying you want a higher GPA, you want to enhance your GPA, go to a private college.
Meaning that in private college, your GPA will definitely be higher. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
This is a causal claim. How could you, Vanessa, could you change it to make it into an association claim? Can you play with the words?
Going to a private college can lead to a higher GPA.
Good. Yes,
yeah.
something like can or may or whatever would leave some kind of escape from the causality, right? Very good. Good job. All right. Let's see. Lisbeth, Almo, Chalani. Is anybody with us? Nobody? Okay. Kim, can you do number 6?
Yes.
Go ahead. So which one is that?
So would it be association?
Okay, look at the verb, Kim.
Yes.
What does it mean
So
to spot, right? To spot is to identify, to notice, to...
Oh, so it'd be association. I mean, casual.
Casual? Kim, what is the language?
Spot is a verb.
Yes. What type of a claim is that? Jenny says causal. Yes, Kim. So frequency, association, causal, from the word cause.
Okay.
So, not casual, but causal.
Oh, causal. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Casual is nice.
I
I know that's what you meant, but I wanted you remember this is not just a comment to you, Kim, but it's a comment to everybody. Remember that psychology is a science. It's not humanities. So words matter here. All right, we have one more minute, maybe. Who would like to do number 7, and then we will stop.
Professor, is it okay if I leave the class now because I have another class at 6?
Yes, sure. Just
okay.
Somebody else quickly do number 7, then we will all be done. Victoria, you are leaving. Okay, good. Who's not leaving? Norma.
Oh, I'm not leaving, Professor. It's
Oh, it's somebody else. Okay. Victoria, would you like to do that? Number 7, you can rescue the entire class. If you do it right, we'll finish right now.
Okay, so I see verb there, may lead. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, I always confuse this causal or association. I typed is causal because of verb.
Right. Lead means causes, right? If you're more active in your sex, you will be more happy at your job, and that's definitely causal. Yeah. And you're right. Even though there is may, which is like softening the blow, so to speak, but lead is a very strong causal verb. All right, we didn't get too far, guys, but that's okay. You can use this exercise if you want for one of your points in the discussions board for this week. Otherwise, class is over.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead. And everybody else can leave. Doesn't have a question for me?
For some reason, I did like homework last week.
You did what? I'm sorry, Victoria, say it again.
I did this exercise like a homework last week for some reason.
Oh, good. Did you post it on discussions?
Yeah. Yes, I was posted, but now I see like it's deleted discussion, so I can't see the. No, but I can send you a mail because I have all this.
I need you to post it because I will be grading through the Blackboard. I don't know why it's deleted.
Yeah, I posted this on Sunday, I think.
So it's there, and I just haven't gotten to grade it yet. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, guys. Tuesday again is an optional class, and on Thursday is a mandatory class. I see you all. Stay with me if you have a question that you want to ask. Otherwise, class is over.
Bye, Professor. Thank you.
Take care.
Hi, Professor.
Hey, Rita.
Can I go over this exercise again?
Yes, sure. I don't mind. Let me just, I'm not going to put it on the board, but I will listen to you, okay? If you don't mind. Just open it again. Great. Okay, minimize. Go ahead.
Okay, so for the first one, in an unequal society, richer than others, jerk. So for that one, it's association because it says makes you a jerk.
No. The word makes, Rita, is very, very strong. So if you go to the text, you have the textbook, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'll tell you which table to look at.
80 and 81?
Page 65.
Okay.
Page 65. I don't know. Let's see if I can. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here you can see that there are association verbs and then there are causal verbs. So if everything is on the left, it's easy because then it's association. The stuff is on the right, it's causal. So here the word make, right? Do you see make anywhere in these two columns?
Yeah, it's in the causal.
Right, because makes means, you know, when you get money, you feel richer and then you feel like a jerk. So remember what I said, if you take makes and change it to one of the verbs, right? Am I showing it to you? in the left column, right? So let's try the first one. So can you replace make with one of those? Let's take the first one. See if you can do it.
Okay. Feeling richer is linked to
feeling like a jerk. Oh, feeling like a jerk, right? So now is linked to is like linked. That doesn't mean cause, but makes.
Yeah.
You see the difference, right? Which other one do you have? You want to do all of them or some of them?
I would appreciate if I can do all of them.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so then number 2 would be Instagram could predict depression. Okay, I wrote association over here.
So let's look, predict. Where is predict? Predict is also in the causal, right? If she has it.
It's an association.
May predict, right? Could and may. So this little word could makes it association. But if we were to take could out and we would say Instagram use predicts depression, or you could say excessive Instagram use predicts depression, it will become a causal claim.
Okay. Okay, makes sense.
You have to really look at words. So look at number 3.
I think I just have to look at this table.
Yes, work with this table and think. Like I said, if you see one of the verbs in the table, then it's easy. And if you don't, then you have to think. Using could or may, like number 4, may still. If it were just harms, then it's definitely causal, right? May still. Yes. And the journalists often use that as a tool to say, oh, maybe I shouldn't be so direct. See what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Then I got till 7. And then for number 8, it doesn't say any
well, what kind of claims is that? Do you see the number?
16%.
So remember, whenever you see the number, it's going to be which of the 3? Frequency, of course. Because here it's only one variable, whether considering suicide. You either consider suicide or you don't. There's only one variable. So it is frequency claim.
Okay. And then number 9, breastfeeding may boost children's IQ.
So if there were no word may here, it would be definitely
Breastfeeding boosts children's IQ. Frequency? It's related to IQ?
No. Do you see any numbers
Causal?
here, Rita? Right, causal,
No.
because no numbers. If it's no numbers, it's probably not a frequency. So now it's between association and causal. And now we're looking at the verb. And boost, right?
Yes.
Is the kind of verb that would be, if it's not in the table, it would be very similar to may lead to, right?
Yeah. So it's causal.
It's causal.
And then
number 10.
Number 11.
Try 10 first.
Number 10. Breastfeeding rates hit new high in United States. So rates high. There are no numbers, so it's not frequency.
But think about it, Rita. Numbers are about rates. Do you see the word rate?
I do. That's why my first thought was frequency. But then I was like, no, they're not.
And it is. It is. Imagine instead of rates, it said 50% of newborns are breastfed in the United States, right? The moment you change rates to actual number, it becomes easy. So if you were to say, if it's not frequency, it's association, well, where are the two variables here?
It's breastfeeding and then high.
No, but breastfeeding, high and low are the levels of breastfeeding.
Yes.
So there are no two variables here. There's only one. It's breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So if it's rate and if it's just one variable, then it has to be frequency.
Okay.
Do you see that?
And yeah, I see it now.
So you could change 10 for a second. You could say breastfeeding may increase children's IQ. Then you introduce a second variable, the IQ, and then it becomes association claim. But for now, it's about rates. And rates are percentages, right? What about 11?
So many students don't know when news is fake. So, it's association.
Rita, you're having problems with that. The word many, right? What does it mean?
Yeah. A lot.
Good. But if I were to change that into something that would be easier for you to see what type of a claim is that, how could I change many?
Maybe give a number?
Yes. So give me a number.
100 students don't know when news is fake?
Well, 100% is a bit too, let's say 80% of students don't know.
80%, yeah.
So what kind of claim is that?
Frequency.
Of course. So the word many, you have to learn to interpret the words in the actual meaning. The journalists will use language. They are journalists. So they say many, but they could have said 80. And if they had said 80%, you would say, sure, it's frequency now, right? But they use the word many.
Yeah.
Okay, what about
12? So for frequency, they can use different kind of words. They may use rate.
Right.
They may use many.
Yes, as long as there's only one variable. One variable, you're done. It's frequency. So the variable.
What if they use some?
Say it again.
What if they use some, like some people?
Yes, some means 30%.
So that's frequency too.
Yes. If they say instead of many, they would say some students don't know, and it doesn't matter what they don't know. You can stop right there. Some students don't know. You say some. Well, it has to be under half, so maybe 30%. So 30% students don't know whatever they don't know. We don't care. Frequency claim. And if you look at number 10, rates. Well, rates are percentages, right? 10%, 20%, 50%. Number 8, 16%. All of those have one variable and a rate or percentage, making them frequency claims.
Okay.
Now, how about number 12?
Worry may make women's brains work overtime. Okay, so
how many variables?
Worry and then brain, too?
So 2 variables, so it's either association or causal, right? Now we're going to look at the verb.
May.
May, make, right?
Yes.
So make is causal, but may make is more association, right? Like may predict, like a number, where are we? May still, number 4, right?
Yes, may still harm brain.
So when you put this extra word in there, you soften the causal claim and it becomes association.
Okay,
so
I get confused when it's just may and make together. I think when it's just may, we can change it to may lead to.
Right, but that's the problem, right? If you only see makes, so 12 would look like worry makes women's brains work overtime. That's causal, no question about it. Worry is linked to women's brains working overtime. Is linked to is association. But may make is funny, right? Because it's kind of both. Yeah. And that's where the most interesting cases lie. And she talks about it on page 65 a lot. She says, often this may doesn't take away from causality. It still is a causal claim. They're just making it sort of softer.
Yeah. Okay.
So that case is the case where it might be a little difficult to say what kind of claim it is without reading more. I'm only giving you a headline. It may not be enough. So what about number 13?
Happier families put kids to bed early. Okay, there's no verb that is association or casual.
Well, look, put.
Is linked to prefers.
Put is very causal, right? You take the child and you put the child to bed.
Yeah, happier family.
So if you were to change that, you would say the happier the family is, the earlier they put the kids to bed.
Yes.
And so what kind of claim is that?
Casual?
Causal.
Association.
Causal, not casual. I know, but remember, it's important that you use the right terms. This is about causality. It's about cause. That's why it's causal. So that says, if you have children, put them to bed early, and then you will be happier. That's a total causal claim. You see that, right?
Yes, happier families with kids.
So all you need to do is, just go through chapter again, just pull out the claims and try to work with them. See if you can
because this was
them.
the exercise I got so confusing.
Well, it takes time to think about psychology as a science, as opposed to softy, touchy, feely kind of. Yeah. No, psychology is science. It's you have you taken chemistry or biology?
Yeah, I took it in high school.
Okay,
and I'm taking bio
right now, right? So there are very well established connections between things that happen in the world and things that happen in your body, or the same is here. We just often are not used to think about it.
I agree. I totally agree.
Okay. So enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week, right?
All right. Thank you so much, Professor.
You're very welcome. Bye.
Good night.